Alright, so Defending the Mall has a release date now. For those who didn't see it, make sure you clear your calendars for next Saturday, November the 9th. Working on this game has been a wonderful journey, and I could not be more grateful for the continuous support the Henry community has continued to show me as I've been working. But with the release happening so soon, I wanted to make a quick video and just properly set everybody's expectations for the game. Defending the Mall has been in active development for what I would consider to be 14-ish months, so you can expect the game to be bigger than some of the earlier Henry games, like Escaping the Prison. I've been having a couple of my friends do playtests for the game over the past 2 weeks, so combining the links of their 100% runs of the game along with tests I've done personally, I would say that a full playthrough of the game will likely take the average person between 35 to 40 minutes. There are 20 bios, 8 achievements, 26 fails, a few collectibles, and I'd say about 3.5 endings. I know this doesn't necessarily sound like a ton to justify a full playthrough taking over half an hour, but there's definitely some stuff in this game I haven't revealed yet that I think you guys will find cool. There is one other aspect that contributes to some of the length I want to touch on before release, and that's the game's emphasis on character. As a fan game developer, I obviously love all the official Henry games, but one problem I always had with them is how a lot of characters aren't like super fleshed out. I understand it's primarily a comedic flash series and more of an emphasis is put on moment to moment gags, which is completely fair. But as I've gotten older and made more and more fan games over the years, I've just found myself wishing that maybe we'd gotten a little more time about some of these characters' backstories and motivations. And given the fact that Defending the Mall is not only a fan project, but takes place in an alternate timeline to the official games, I figured this would be a good chance to try to humanize a lot of the characters, both those that people are already familiar with, along with some new ones I created specifically for this game. So all that to say, you can expect a couple of moments in this game to do just that. I have a different, slightly more extroverted take on Henry's character that I hope people like. There's a couple of cutscenes where some of the characters just talk to each other, and overall, I'm just pretty happy with how, by the end of a playthrough, a player would be able to get a read on at least a good chunk of the main cast. That's all I have to say about content of the game itself, but one question I'm sure you've been asking is, where can I play the game? I'm happy to report that Defending the Mall will be making its way onto Game Jolt, as well as having a release on Scratch. I'm also aware that some people watching this may not have the most powerful computers in the world, and I'm happy to say that I've compensated for that. There will be 4 versions of Defending the Mall available to play. A vector and a bitmap port over there on Scratch, and a vector and bitmap version over on Game Jolt that's actually widescreen. I know taking something in a square aspect ratio and just stretching that to fit a widescreen aspect ratio is really frowned upon, so rest assured, that is not what I did for this process. I manually went in and resized or even redid backgrounds and certain character animations, so I'm confident in saying that either of the widescreen Game Jolt ports are probably the best ways to play the game. For those of you who don't know the difference between vector and bitmap, I can give you a brief rundown. Scratch has 2 art forms, vector and bitmap. Vector looks smoother and has a smaller file size, but having a ton of vector assets leads to a longer loading time, some lag when there's more complex animations on screen, and potential crashes. Bitmap, on the other hand, has a significantly shorter load time and no problems with lag or game crashes at all, but it has the cost of a higher file size and some slightly grainier graphics. I wanted to make Defending the Mall as accessible as possible to the public, so I figured I'd just make 4 versions and let the player choose what's right for them. Although I would personally recommend the bitmap port of either site for a full playthrough, because crashes do erase progress unfortunately if they do occur. And to you Scratch users out there, make sure to plug that project link into TurboWarp for an overall better experience, regardless of whichever version you're playing on. Trust me on that. So there you have it, friends. I hope this video has made you more intrigued to play Defending the Mall soon, and hopefully help make it clear how to set your expectations. Again, thank you all so much for the support, and I cannot wait for everyone to get their chance to defend the mall soon.